Hey, Planeswalkers, Mythras here. Hope you're doing well and staying safe. Today, Planeswalkers is one of my favorite days. We are doing a tier list day and we're doing historic. So I am pumped. We got a lot going on. We see things here. Now with the update, we can take a quick look. The upcoming renewal, set rotation, all sorts of stuff. Looking forward to Innistrad Midnight Hunt, the change in what's going on in standard format, and historic here. And with that, that gives us a good segue into today's list and what we have going on for you in particular, because this update revolved pushing out everything for tomorrow, which is Jumpstart Historic. So we have a lot going on with that. Look at this guy, Sparky here. That's going to happen. So I wanted to equip you with the latest and greatest information so that you're readily prepared in terms of what's going to happen in the meta, and give you some opportunity to quickly take advantage of it or adjust, and we'll go from there, my friends. So appreciate you tuning in. Flip me a like if you enjoyed today's video. On top of it, if you have questions, if you have comments, let me know down below. Would love to hear from you, or feel free to pop it in the description and hop into the Discord server where there's about 300 plus people there. So thank you everyone there as well. And great ways to support the channel. Stay connected. We have YouTube memberships as well as Patron memberships. So thank you to all of you that support that way as well. So good things there for you too in the description, like discounts on cards, custom cards, sleeves, as well as playmats, and a host of other things there. So thank you for that too. So while you're here, tier list day. But before we do that, let's break down the timestamps because I missed that piece. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. Traditionally, what I've been doing is kind of like a Friday night meta data breakdown. Unfortunately, we can't do that today. I am so sorry. The update happened to nuke all kinds of stuff here. So this is what happened, unfortunately, to Untapped. They're aware of the error. So I can't show you that, but I will promise to make it up to you in the future. So that is how it goes, and that is why we love technology, my friends, because it does happen. Stuff breaks. So, and so did Arena yesterday, and why we didn't get to this list before then, because of a lot of other things going on in the household. So that timestamp is not going to exist for you today. But what we do have is we're going to have the best of one tier list. We're going to have the best of three tier list. We're going to go ahead and give you some observations here from the previous historic season. And then last but not least, we'll leave you with a fun couple of decks and interesting things here for you as we progress into Jumpstart. And I wish you the best of luck with that. So with that, let's hop into the tier list, my friends. But before we do so, those of you that are new, those of you that are returning, tier list is a stack rank of decks. We're playing within those decks as well as against the meta, so how they do against each other and how they do against everything else. It's not an exhaustive list. They do get bigger as we progress usually, but I can't get everything done all the time, but I do try and cover the most relevant stuff. If you're looking for something that isn't there, let me know, and certainly happy and willing to comment on that as always. So that is what a tier list is in terms of Magic stack ranking of the best decks. Let's move into the tier list because that is why you are here today, my friends. So we'll pull this bad boy over, and here is our tier list for August. So very excited about this. I've spent a lot of time, and let's zoom in here because we got these old eyes. Spent a lot of time on this, tried to rush through it, and by that I'm popping out tons of content here on the channel, doing doubles, 2 videos a day, so thank you to everyone on that. And a couple of the big things here in particular, when I was going to get close to publishing this list, they pushed out, so we got a little bit of extra time. We got another couple decks in there that I was excited to share with you, but here is the list that we have. This list and the best of 3 list are available for you down below in the description. You can also go to my website and get the information there. The deck lists are available on the channel. There'll also be links there for you as well, and also on the website. So let's go ahead and see what we got going on for August 2021 here, right before we get into Jumpstart. So tier 1, we have Jeskai Control, Mono Green Elves, Selesnya Angels, and this is for best of 1. Tier 2, we have Mono Green Stompy, 5-color Dragonstorm, Rakdos Arcanus, Rakdos Sacrifice, Azorus Auras, Azorus Prison, Jund Food, Mono Red Burn. Tier 3, we got Mono Black Aggro, Izzet Phoenix, and Esper Control. Now, a lot of this stuff, particularly in best of 1, is very data driven. I've matched it actually over the course of a couple of different days, and certainly things changed, which was a very, very interesting learning for this particular meta, which is pretty impressive and cool to see. So I did want to share that with you ahead of time before we get into our observations. So that is what we have for best of 1. We got like 15 decks there, 14 decks, a little over 10, but a lot of these made up the core in terms of what we saw out there. Then as we move into best of 3, here's what we got going on for best of 3. We got a couple less decks because some of the decks aren't necessarily as played per se in much in best of 3. So here we have tier 1 Jeskai Control, Mono Green Stompy, Jund Food. Tier 2 we got Selesnya Company. We also have Rakdos Sacrifice, Azorus Auras, Esper Control, Izzet Phoenix. And then tier 3 we have Rakdos Arcanus, Mono Black Aggro, Mono Red Burn, and 5-color Niv Mizzet. I would actually also put in here and I should have did that Selesnya Angels, so we'll do that live. This one's going to be probably in the middle here in terms of what we have going on. So let's do that for you live because I missed that one. So we'll go to 7. So really the one that we don't run in best of 3 is that 5-color Dragonstorm. So that is the list here for you today. That's our best of 3 list within the meta. Very exciting in what we have going on. We did see some new things, so we'll talk about that in the observations here in a second. But if you have questions, if you have comments, let me know. Again, the list is available to you down below. So from here, let's go ahead and we'll talk a little bit about some of the key observations that we saw in terms of what's happening in the meta. And we'll go from there, my friends. So first off, we talked a little bit about that best of 1 when we talked about some of the stats changing around really quickly. Best of 3 certainly had a lot of impacts like best of 1. Some of those key pieces here was Mono Green Stomping. So with that is, and I'm saying stomping instead of stompy because it stomped all over the meta this time around, both in best of 1 and best of 3. A very, very powerful deck. I know I covered Jaffer's deck, who had piloted it to top 10, top 25. Very impressive. We got huge pickups coming out of Dungeons and Dragons, Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, which made it very, very powerful across a lot of things, which was great. So standard 2022, standard and historic, which was really cool to see that impact. Next, we have the post ban. So we did go through 2 bannings. I talked about the first one. I think the second one was Brainstorm here. I think the first one was Time Warp, if I recall properly. So some of the big changes here, we saw Jeskai Control change. We saw Izzet Phoenix change. So lots of things happening there. We can see that Jeskai Control still has done really well in the meta. So a lot of those things were replaced. It didn't necessarily weaken the deck too much, but it certainly changed the flow of it and some of its ability, obviously. So that's a couple of the biggest things. We did see some changes in the meta, not too heavy. After that, I would say the biggest one here is the Jund Food. Jund Food really came out strong. What that leads us into our next segue was multicolored. Traditionally, what we've seen in best of 1 is a lot more solo colored, like mono green elves, mono red burn, mono black aggro, and also goblins here. I forgot to put goblins. So goblins, I'll make sure I put back in best of 1 here for you as well down below. Probably more of like a tier 2, tier 3 list for you. So let's do that while we're here. We'll go like this, and I'm gonna push mono red burn down to 1. There we go. So we still got goblins here. So as an example, we've got a lot of pickups here in the multicolor, particularly in best of 3. A lot of that smoothing and land stuff isn't as bad as what we find. Tier 3, I will put mono red goblins here. Doing this stuff live, my friends, as always, and as best as we can. So there we go. with that, that's important to understand. We see a lot of those things with the lands and multicolored relative to some of the things that we've seen in the past. If you look at Standard 2022, lots of solo colors going on, and that is how things are progressing. Next, we have a variety. So this is the health of the meta. We talked about this before. We got a broad range of decks, types of colors, and the magic pinwheel there for both best of 1 and best of 3, which is always good. It's good to see that, particularly as a player who likes to play a lot of different things. It's nice to see that in the meta. We have more of an aggro list, we got more of a mid-range and a late game all tier 1, which gives us a really nice trifecta and challenging nature of a healthy balance in our tier 1, particularly in best of 3, which is good. Then we have a fast-paced best of 1 as always, and by that Celestial Angels, mono green elves, minus the Jeskai Control. Outside that, a lot of the stuff here at the top of tier 2 is very quick. So the difference here though is that Jeskai Control really being counter to a lot of that. There's a lot of good cards for in best of 1 to really slow down your opponents and kind of delay them there as well. Last but not least, what you've all been waiting for, Jumpstart. So we have a lot going on. I think this is certainly going to warp and shift the meta quite a bit. Traditionally, as we've always said, what's been good before generally gets pulled through and still remains good. So that's one thing to keep an eye out on. But if it's anything like Mystical Archives, it will certainly lead to a lot more decks, impacts, and changes in the meta. There are 782 new cards coming in from Jumpstart Historic Horizons. 372 of them are new to Arena. There are 3 new mechanics, Seek, Perpetuality, and Conjure, and there's some Arena-only cards. So very important for us to understand. You can certainly find more information on that if you want. Happy to share more on that, but I haven't gotten overkill on that. I probably should do more of that in the future. I promise I will. Just family time here, but hard to kind of stay on top of things with our new family member, so it happens. Now, a couple of things that I want you to pay attention to. We got about 10 cards. Nettlecist for auras, the new Civilum of Sea and Sky for Merfolk, Freyalise for Elves, Archmage's Charm, Control, and Jeskai. Seasoned Pyromancer is going to be probably in every deck. Goblin Dark Dwellers, combos and controls, Blade Splicer, mono white artifacts, Darviel's Withering. This is one of those new cards that we talked about for auras. Restoration Angel, and probably some other combos. Coco, Angels decks, Ranger Captain of Eos, mono white, could go in Coco as well. Thought Monitor, Affinity decks, Dragon's Rage, Chandler for mono red and burn, and Esper Sentinel, Affinity, and mono white. So lots of cards there. You can check those out on my website. And in the article to stay on top of those things as well. I do think there's going to be a good healthy shift in the meta, which is always exciting because as you've been playing for so long with a certain set, we always like things to be shaken up, and I think Wizards has done a nice job with that for Historic for us, which is great. So Planeswalkers, that is the tier list. Those are some of the key observations. Let's go ahead and break down some of those key decks for you here today, and we'll continue with our fun tier list and close out. So a couple of things that I did want to cover for you today. Mono Green Elves has still been great. We know that Is It Phoenix has certainly changed as well. A lot of the update gave me a ton of new decks here that certainly have changed things. Some of the biggest stuff that I do want to call out, one is Jund Food has certainly skyrocketed in the meta. So here is what we have going on with this particular list. You can check this out. Again, this was a top 10 one. Again, the concept is leveraging the 3. It runs a lot less claim the Firstborns, taking advantage of Witch's Oven and a lot of the food generation to gain advantage, and then closing out with Corvold on the top end. So that is one of the lists that have certainly impacted what we have going on here in the meta. So that's good to stay on top of. Additionally, here next, a fun one that popped in was Esper Esper Control. Esper Control, I didn't quite do this one justice. I apologize in my video, but it is a very, very powerful best of 3 deck, and has done well in this meta and played well. Lots of players taking it into tournaments. We've seen it in a lot of other places with that. This was a top 100 one. Lots of great ability to do well in terms of aggro, mid-range, and late game, depending on how you're boarding as well. We'll discard any changes there. The last one that I did want to cover here was Mono Green Stompy. This card was, or this deck was certainly impactful. Again, this one is Jaffer's deck. Jaffer's done a nice job with it. Top 25, I think it was closer to top 10 here. Again, we covered the Ranger class, Werewolf Pack Leader, a really aggro list that punishes your opponents very, very quickly. Additionally, I really, really enjoyed playing this one myself. So that is what we have going on here for our 3 key decks for this tier list for you. We'll discard changes. I know there's a lot going on here. And finally, to close things out, let's go ahead and pull our nice list here. So again, here's the best of 1. Here is the best of 3. Oh, that is best of 3. Those are my notes. Best of 3. Lots of prep for these things. Best of 1. And with that, in closing, I just want to say thank you as always, Planeswalkers. We walked through both the best of 1, best of 3 tier lists. Unfortunately, we couldn't do the key data stuff today. I will do that for you in the future here, probably as we get out of the gate with Jumpstart. And then we gave some key observations and trends and changes over the last season, which has been fun to see, and some cool things evolve here for us. And then gave you a couple key 3 decks that certainly had an impact in this meta with John Food, Esper Control, and then additionally Mono Green Stompy Elves. Yeah, because it's been a staple for a long time. With that, as always, if you have questions, if you have comments, let me know down below. Appreciate your time here today. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Flip me a like if you did. Again, if you got questions, feel free to hop in the Discord server. Great information there, the website, the links, lots of stuff there in the description as well for you on the tier list, and great ways to stay connected with the channel and to support. So thank you again for that. And Planeswalkers, until next time, you stay safe out there. We'll see you again soon. We got more top decks coming your way. Standard, Historic, Standard 2022. We got Jank on top of that Friday night meta and tier list just like this. So stay close, and we'll see you again soon. Until next time, Mythras out.